Elara Vance, at 27, stood silently in the vast, intimidating library of her late great-uncle Elias Sterling. Dust motes danced in the afternoon sun, illuminating the polished mahogany where her wealthy relatives were gathered. Elara, a modest book restorer, felt the usual cold wave of condescension wash over her. Today was the reading of the will, and her family, Uncle Victor, Aunt Clarissa, and Cousin Trent, were barely hiding their greedy anticipation. The family lawyer, Mr. Perkins, cleared his throat and began. Victor received the controlling interest in Sterling Hospitality, a chain valued at over $400 million. Clarissa was granted the entire Florida Keys estate and a priceless art collection, totaling $150 million. Trent, the grandnephew, inherited the Manhattan penthouse and a $50 million cash endowment. With each announcement, the room pulsed with satisfied arrogance. Finally, Mr. Perkins reached her name. And finally, to my grandniece, Elara Vance. Elara's heart hammered against her ribs. Elias had been her only true family, seeing past her quiet demeanor. Surely he had left her a meaningful share. I leave only one item, this book. Mr. Perkins placed a small, worn, leather-bound volume in front of her. A ripple of stifled laughter swept through the room. Aunt Clarissa chuckled, her voice dripping with fake sympathy. Oh, Elara dear, how fitting. A book for the little librarian? I'm sure it's lovely prose. Uncle Victor smirked, a cruel triumph in his eyes. Trent gets the jet, and she gets the dusty old stories. Elias certainly knew her station. Humiliation burned Elara's cheeks, a familiar, painful fire. She clutched the book, stood up, and left the room, the echoes of their mockery following her into the hall. Back in her small apartment, surrounded by the comforting scent of old paper and glue, Elara examined the book. She was a restorer, an architect of forgotten beauty. She knew objects often concealed deeper truths. She ran her fingers over the aged spine and discovered a minute, almost invisible seam. With meticulous care, she opened the binding. The core had been expertly hollowed out. Inside lay a metallic card etched with the seal of a prestigious Swiss bank and a single sheet of paper with an address in Geneva. A week later, after a long, disorienting flight, Elara found herself in the minimalist, ultra-modern office of Mr. Finch, a Swiss banking expert. Mr. Finch confirmed the metallic card was the key to the Sterling Restoration Trust, activated precisely on her 27th birthday. Elara showed him the bank statement that had been emailed to her. The number was astronomical. She was certain it was a mistake. No error, Ms. Vance, Mr. Finch stated. Your uncle was a visionary. He placed core investments in logistics, global development, and private equity into this trust over a decade ago. The total net value as of this morning is approximately $1.5 billion US. Elara stared, speechless, as the weight of the hidden empire settled upon her. Elias had not simply left her money. He had given her the ultimate tool to protect his legacy from the short-sighted greed of her relatives. He had wanted her to understand her own strength before gaining the power to wield it. Elara's next move was calculated. She initiated an immediate, confidential financial review of Sterling Hospitality. As Mr. Finch had suspected, Uncle Victor's leadership had been disastrous. Victor was running the company into the ground, weighed down by enormous debt from a reckless expansion. The company was vulnerable, desperately needing a capital injection. Elara formed an anonymous corporate entity called the Cornerstone Group. Her instructions to Mr. Finch were clear. She wanted to acquire a majority, controlling interest in Sterling Hospitality. It had to be a fast, decisive move that would look like a takeover by an external foreign investment firm, with absolutely no trace leading back to Elara Vance. Her family, still boasting about their new acquisitions, never once asked about the contents of her little book. 2 weeks later, the acquisition was complete. Uncle Victor had frantically accepted the generous, high-pressure buyout offer from the mysterious Cornerstone Group. He had sold the family's greatest asset to an entity he didn't know, merely to save himself from financial ruin. Elara's personal acquisition was next. She purchased the original family property, the magnificent Sterling Manor, an estate her great-uncle had been forced to sell years ago. She restored it to its full, magnificent glory. She invited her family to the manor for a talk. As Victor, Clarissa, and Trent walked into the restored foyer, their eyes wide with confusion and awe, Elara waited at the foot of the sweeping staircase. "Welcome to my new home, Victor," Elara greeted them, her voice calm and firm. "I bought it last week." "Cash." "Elara," Aunt Clarissa whispered. "This is insane. Where is this money coming from?" "I resigned my job yesterday," Elara replied, leading them into the grand drawing room. "We need to talk about the Sterling Hospitality acquisition." Victor's face was etched with panic. "Do you know who the Cornerstone Group is, Elara? They're stripping my power. I'm trapped as a manager." "I do know them," Elara said, taking a seat. "I receive their reports daily." She paused, letting the silence hang heavy. "The book you all laughed at?" It contained the key to the Sterling Restoration Trust. My inheritance was $1.5 billion. I am the sole owner of the Cornerstone Group. I bought your company, Victor. The confession sent a shockwave through the room. Victor's face went pale. Clarissa gasped. You did this for revenge?" Clarissa stammered. "No," Elara corrected her. "I did it for restoration." "You inherited wealth and nearly destroyed the legacy Elias built. I inherited the responsibility to save it. You will now learn to respect the person, not the title. The librarian you dismissed is now the owner of everything you value." Elara's condition for them was simple: a full public apology for their disrespect and condescension at the will reading. Humiliated but financially dependent on her decisions regarding Victor's new management role, the family complied. Over the next year, Elara kept Victor on as general manager, allowing him to focus on the company's daily operations without the crushing weight of debt. He reported to a holding company controlled entirely by Elara. He finally found peace and stability, realizing Elara's strategic acumen surpassed his own. One evening, standing on the deck of her new yacht, the Restoration, Elara watched the lights of the city she now partially owned. Her Uncle Victor walked up to her. "Elara," he said quietly, "I want you to know something. I'm proud of you. You are stronger and kinder than any of us deserved. Elias saw something in you the rest of us were too blind to notice." Elara looked at him, her smile genuine. "Thank you, Victor. It took 27 years and a hidden empire, but I finally realized the greatest inheritance wasn't the money. It was the gift of seeing my own worth before anyone else could. She had won something better than the game. She had won herself."